supposed to say again?
What kind of podcast is this?
Oh! This is Bad Playstyle. We're a video game book club podcast wherein we talk about the video game we played this week.
NSFW?
Yeah, we swear a lot, and we're gonna fucking spoil the shit out of this game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about secrets?
Yeah, we're gonna ruin all the secrets.
Such as?
Such as Bastil is really your mom.
I said dad.
Doesn't matter.
Sit down, take a chair. I just put on the tea. We're going to have an episode of Bad Playstyle. I'm Owen.
What kind of tea we got? My name is Matt.
We have no tea.
Damn it.
My name is SJW Snowflake Argumentative.
Or...
AKA...
BKA.
It's like, is this my real name or the other title?
What is your name?
Keenan.
Okay, yeah.
Keenan.
I was like, wait, do I have to do the other one? We're almost to the point where the new one's gone, right?
Yeah, it's almost exactly a month from now.
Cool.
So, why did you do that?
Why did I do? Oh, because of the chicken hat, which is our checks and balances measure to ensure that everyone is participating in the game and not playing it.
Named after a feature
in Metal Gear Solid 5. If you lose at a given point too many times, they offer to give you the chicken hat, and it is a ridiculous chicken hat you put on your head, and then you are invisible.
Yeah, it makes the game easier.
It makes the game way easier.
Except it never helps with the part that's actually hard.
Yeah, no, you still gotta still gotta fight those dudes with the armor and the bullshit.
Mm-hmm. The skull unit.
Yeah, fuck those dudes.
Welcome to our show.
Hi.
We are Bad Playstyle. We already warned you about spoilers, but we didn't warn you about all the books we're going to read. So... Wait, but they're not books, they're video games. I'm sorry if that was confusing.
Oh, yeah.
I've read several books in my time. And that's a book, I can tell from the Jaggies. So, what do we play this time, guys?
We played Fallout 2, a post-nuclear role-playing game.
Okay.
Slash the mod.
Yeah, the Fallout 2 restoration project.
Yeah.
Why the hell did we do that?
Because it's a really good game.
The hell yeah it is.
Hell yeah.
And
when it works.
There's like a little bit more of that game than there used to be.
Yeah, which was neat.
Yeah.
We should get into that later.
Yeah, so first things first, we like to warm up with a little ditty called Hey Keenan, what have you been playing lately?
That's not the name of the segment. I've been playing a lot of PUBG on stream. That's been good. I've been playing.
You're affiliated with like a street gang now, right?
I'm Twitch street gang affiliated.
They initiated him.
I got jumped in.
He made his bones.
Yeah, I got jumped in. Blood in, blood out.
He's got that purple crown on his chest
yeah.
with the gothic letters.
They asked for my address. I'm worried about Twitch merch showing up now.
You had to like kill an Azubu guy, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
I think I stole a minivan too. I think that was part of the process.
Right. And now you're like officially allowed to stand on the corner and yell about video games.
Yep.
Right? Right.
Yeah, I have a subscribe button now. I am personally top tier subscribed to my channel automatically, which I thought was silly.
Yeah, you get all the emojis.
Yep, I get all the not emojis that are there.
So, what do you get per subscriber?
So, the going rate initially is 50%. So, like, they subscribe $5, I get $250.
Okay.
Which is actually, like, not bad, right? Like, if you have 100 subs, that's $250. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's alright.
If you're like a super high tier contributor, you know, if you're Ninja or Choco Taco or whatever, they tend to
Don't say their names.
Yeah, don't
Sorry, that gives them power.
Don't speak them.
Do not say E-Boys' names in my presence.
Wait. What if, as an ongoing rule on this podcast, whenever
is it just generic streamer? A streamer?
No, a Twitch streamer of prominence comes into conversation. We want to talk about it in the news. We use a made-up different name that sounds like it might be a real streamer.
Frozen Snickers bar.
Yeah, like Neon Tiger.
Yeah.
So like Neon Tiger had a heated gaming moment and used a racial slur again.
So yeah,
remember, kids, don't look up to these people. They're awful.
Yeah, everyone on the internet is awful, self-included. I like wrestling. So
you know, Ric Flair at the mainframe.
So what do the big names like Neon Tiger get?
They get, like, the ratio tends to shift for higher trafficked people. I've heard 70-30,
Okay.
but
they get 70?
They get 70.
Wow.
But, like, Twitch/Amazon is totally happy to rake in the 30% on your 2 million subscribers, you know, like...
Yeah. Some money.
We pay for service base, you give us free content.
And then, the other thing that affiliates get is,
It's
like...
emojis. I heard it was emojis.
I think I need to... Yeah, but the other thing is you get, like, a cut of anything that's bought from the Twitch store from your account.
Okay,
So like, while I'm playing a game, they have to, like, buy this game.
So if they buy PUBG,
yeah,
basically.
if someone buys... Yeah, currently, that's pretty much all I play online, so yeah.
And anyone who's watching you play PUBG probably also
Probably
plays
already
PUBG.
owns PUBG, yeah. And then, I guess, like, I don't know much about bits in Twitch culture, but apparently you get 1 cent per bit that is used to cheer your channel on. Which is, like, another way they've monetized things.
The gamification of things I don't use is always just bewildering.
Yeah, it's... So, like, the way bits end up working in most cases is, like, when you're watching, like, LOL finals or whatever, they'll, like, have rewards for people who give them bits. Which is silly, because they generated an art thing to take your cents. But whatever. That's America.
Cool.
Commerce.
Well, congratulations on being anointed as a Twitcher.
Yeah, I guess. I'm real twitchy.
A twitching one.
And then the other thing
That sounds eldritch.
Yeah, completely derailed. I'm very tired today. I'm sorry if I'm a little spacey, but and then last night, part of why I'm very tired is I got home from a local wrestling show at midnight and decided I was going to try out a game. So I installed it and played a little bit of Jurassic World Evolution, which is a Jurassic Park park manager game.
That game looks cool.
It's kind of neat.
Prepare for that to be a pick.
I'm probably picking that later.
Okay.
I wanted to, like, test drive it. I haven't gotten a carnivore yet. That's the thing I'm gonna do later.
Sure.
Let's get a carnivorous dinosaur and see what kind of shit we can get into.
I've had this itch for a long time to play. Like, I looked at what was that that new roller coaster game that's not from Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it's basically that Planet Coaster.
Yeah.
Like, I watched a video of someone playing that. I was like, man, I haven't played one of these in forever. That looks great.
Yeah, so, like, that's the core of that game.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, yo, we threw Jurassic Park instead of roller coasters in.
Jeff Goldblum voiceover, doesn't it?
Tons of it. Yeah.
Which is pretty great.
Yeah, he's very Ian Malcolm. It's very good so far.
I'm a big fan of The Fly.
He's really like, yeah, this isn't gonna go bad at all the whole time. It's pretty great. I'm really excited for him to talk shit when a carnivorous monster eats people. Like, it's gonna be good.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll talk more about that later. I haven't played a lot of other things.
What'd you play, Matt?
Well, so at school, we've been playing a lot of Ultimate Chicken Horse. That seems to be the game that the kids have latched onto the most.
Well, they keep adding stuff.
Well,
like, there's new levels.
We unlocked all the levels, and
Sick.
two that stand out to me is Dance Party, where at any given time, 50% of the level is shrouded in darkness, and the other half is strobe lit. And these aren't like half the screen and half the screen. It's like there's a pattern, and the pattern goes black, and then it's a different pattern.
Like it's coming off a disco ball.
Yeah,
or something.
but the pattern changes, and then
that
also
really
shifts
fucks up like your control of locomotion, doesn't it?
It makes you take all of the jumps on faith and on feel, like a pilot flying a plane without radar.
Cool,
right? And so. Yeah, it leads to some interesting moments, especially when someone's like putting the pressure on you, like they can do it, you want to do it before them.
Right.
We also discovered how to change the rules, so we changed it to be a lot more kid-friendly. So like, there's a lot more things that we changed to score every single time, but I generally lowered score values so the games take longer, so we have more time to make the level fucked up and hard.
Sure.
And then another level we discovered is the mainframe or the motherboard. Basically, it's an enormous pit, and there's 2 alcoves, one on either side, and one contains the entrance and one contains the exit. And there are these 2 enormous green boards hanging over the pit that take up, like, most of the level, vertically and horizontally. And any individual, like, they're divided into this grid, and
I've seen this one.
Any individual square you stand on becomes impassable next round.
Okay.
So the path has to change.
So you literally have to take a different path every single time.
Okay.
And if you're jumping a lot, there's these huge, like, McDonald's arches that become impassable terrain now.
Nice.
And then
get in under them.
one of the things they added in one of the expansions was blocks that crumble if you touch them 3 times and they're gone permanently.
Mhm.
They made an entire bridge out of these levels. So
Okay.
as you play the level, the bridge starts falling apart.
That's
Nice.
cool.
Right?
Yeah, because in the base game they had blocks that would break if you stepped on them once.
Yeah.
But that's good.
I like that there's like content being added to that game still.
Yeah.
Because that game's kind of old, like 3-4 years.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe Chicken Horse was. Yeah.
I think it came out on Switch, so it
Yeah.
might be that they're trying to punch up the game a little bit for the Switch release and add a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I've noticed, like, usually when pre-established indie games come to Switch, they usually try and, like...
Here's a little more.
Yeah, put a...
Here's
put
a reason to
paint
buy
on
on the Switch.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have unlocked all the characters and most of the costumes, and I gotta say that I cannot decide. The chameleon can wear a Hawaiian shirt and like aviator goggles,
Mm-hmm.
but then he also could, instead of the Hawaiian shirt, wear like a blanket tied around his neck like a cape. And I honestly can't decide which one I like more.
Those are both PUBG acceptable.
And then the monkey has a Letterman jacket that he can put on, which
Okay.
is just aces,
Mhm.
right? But then he also has an enormous chef hat that he can put on. That basically like doubles his character size.
Okay.
Not his hurt box, but
Yeah.
his little picture.
His visual.
And then the elephant gets exercise gear, like 80s spandex exercise
yeah, does he
gear.
have like wristbands? and
Wristbands, and then there's a sweatband
Yeah,
for
awesome.
his head. Yeah,
That's
Okay.
good.
And when you said that, I first imagined the elephant in a tracksuit, which I could go for that too.
That's not quite what's
Tracksuit
going
elephant.
on. And then the elephant
bad
can
art
instead of having the sweatband on their head, can have one of those birds that cleans elephants
Mhm.
just
Nice.
hanging out on the back of its
That's
head.
cool.
That was
Those are good
pretty
birds.
cool.
What else have you been playing?
I played some Warframe because the new expansion came out and it's enormous and it's way better than the last one. And I've been catching lots of robotic fish. I really like
That's
fishing in that
awesome.
game. It's really relaxing and fun. Just hanging out with my friends on Discord, catching massive amounts of robotic fish. It's really fun.
Nice.
And the fish are like mats for the gear
it's
grind,
for,
right?
for making. Yeah, they added. So last expansion they added customizable swords. Like you could take the parts, mash them together, make the sword you want. Now they added pistols, so you can make the pistol you want.
I see where this is going.
So if they made like Tano Fishing Simulator 2218, like you'd be on that.
No, I think it's the fact that I remember we were talking about this a few years ago about how one of the things that's really great about World of Warcraft is that you can keep playing World of Warcraft in like 8 different ways.
Sure.
Right? So like I'm still playing Warframe, which I want to do, but I'm not engaged in like the high intensity gameplay that it's
Sure.
like, normally
Yeah,
known
yeah.
for, right? And I'm still working
you're still
towards like,
gaining
making
something.
that better,
Yeah.
right? And I think if it was just straight fishing, I would have zero interest. But the fact that it sort of bolsters my ability to engage in the other parts of the game is
Okay.
really, really engaging.
They've also done like the presentation of how fishing works in that game is really cool.
Yeah.
Like the water effects are all really nice.
I've been
the
taking-
throwing the spearfish stuff is fun.
So you know
Like,
how Ivara can make like ninja wires that go between 2 locations, and you can ninja style like jump on them with 2 feet and like run across them.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that across ponds. So I shoot a dash
Nice.
wire like an inch above the top of the pond, and then just run along the top of it and go, "You're a fish."
Yeah, and you're not like actually disturbing them.
Right? Because
Yeah.
if you step in the water, the fish go, "Wah!" and they
Yeah.
like go faster.
That's
and it's
pretty
harder to
good.
hit them. Yeah, I've been doing that. And then I bought Divinity 2 because a coupon appeared in my Steam inventory, and I really want to play that with my friends here on co-op. I'm really excited to play that game.
I feel like we're gonna generate a lot of hashtag content, if not this year, next year.
I want to play a Skeleman.
Yeah.
And I want to.
What if we did co-op and we all made Skelly Mans?
That would be.
I mean, there's a bunch of other racial options that are rad in that game.
That would be difficult for us, I think. But
you so rarely get to be undead.
That's true.
Yeah, like
Being a
and when I
Skelly
say-
Man is in
When I
my-
say undead, I don't mean like a fucking vampire. I mean like undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be a
That's the-
fucking
that's the
skeleton
thing
with no
is-
tendons.
normally, when a video game or an RPG is like, you get to be undead, you get to be like a guy who's dead. You don't get to
Yeah.
be a fucking skeleton.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I'll always love Age of Wonders for letting you just roll as a skeleton.
Yeah.
So the guy that you get to. So what's cool about Divinity is that it comes with like a couple pre-made like backstories
Mhm.
for your character, and you can sort of change the stats of that character, but you come with a pre-built backstory, like but there's like 5 of them, so it's sort of like what Dragon Age 2 tried to do, but it actually works instead of just being worse
Savage burn.
objectively.
Okay.
But yeah, so the undead guy, he sort of woke up and he doesn't know, he has amnesia. He's a dead guy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Great.
and he doesn't heal from healing magic. He heals from poison.
So I was reading about this game,
Mhm.
and apparently only one of you gets to become a god, which is what the whole game is about.
If you were playing co-op, only one of you gets to receive the ending of the game. So.
I kind of like that in the context of us playing it.
It's better than Baldur's Gate 2 because Baldur's Gate 2 is also a CRPG about potentially becoming a god.
Right.
Mhm.
And in that, the way, if you play that multiplayer, if you play it co-op,
Mhm.
it's written really ambiguously as to who the fuck they're even talking about when they refer to the ball spawn. Is like, is it one of us? Is it both of us?
Is it all of us? You talking about mints too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the well,
It's
no.
Boo. It's
So-
actually just Boo.
So it's very clear they are talking about the ball spawn.
Yeah.
But ball spawn is a plural and singular word, and they're both your characters are, I believe, count as ball spawn. So like,
Yeah.
Mutual rule.
it's like how in Halo Combat Evolved there was 2 Spartans, but they're both Master Chief.
Yeah, and one's like blue. They like did a color tint, I remember. Yeah.
Everybody
Fucking
casting
Halo.
simulacrum all over the place.
Yeah.
And dudes out of salt water. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, and what did you play?
That's what I said.
I played a
Got
ton
you.
of RimWorld. I finally beat RimWorld.
I did play some RimWorld.
Yeah.
You beat it?
Yeah.
You made this spaceship?
I made a big spaceship and I put 22 people in it. And when you do that, it takes a month for it to charge up. And I think what's supposed to happen if you play on not baby mode is like that's when like people come out to steal your ship or blah,
Right,
blah,
they
blah,
heard
whatever.
about a spaceship. Yeah.
Yeah, and I switched on the ship. I put everyone in it, not realizing it needed a month to charge. And I put everyone in, and I flicked it on, and I was like, okay, it'll be ready to go in 30 days. It's like, all right, man. Yeah, I turned on time accelerator. Fucking nothing happened. Ship took off, and you get to listen to nice guitar music.
That's nice.
And I started another RimWorld game with the intention of wiping every town off the map that's near me. Like,
Yeah, he's just going full raider.
yeah, we're gonna be marauders.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we want to kind of tech up to it first. Like, we want to be confident in our ability to just roll into a town and kill everyone.
So using fun things like grenade launchers.
Yeah. I haven't settled on what our arsenal is going to look like. But we're dug into a super defensive position inside a mountain.
Yeah, you said you started doing your settlements inside mountains, which, from what you explained, sounds super great.
Yeah, and it's a super pain in the ass at the same time because to make a 10 by 10 room, you don't have to make, instead of 40 construction jobs of wall segments, it's 100 construction jobs to clear the room, and then 100 more construction jobs to either like smooth the floors or install floors to make it like
It's a lot
habitable.
longer.
Like people hate living in like raw ass caverns.
Also, you can't run power cable unless you smooth the stone out.
Yeah, or have installed floor.
Yeah. So you have to like, if you want to run your cables through the walls,
Yeah,
you have to smooth every wall you want the cable to go through.
yeah. That part kind of
Or
sucks.
just have cable out and then they're mad about it.
But the great part is you don't have to heat the thing for shit.
Yeah.
Because I've been using wood-fired generators in that game, which just make heat exudes from them. And if you have them indoors and have your vents set up properly, you don't have to build a single heater. They warm the whole base. And in fact, the base gets a little too hot in the summer, so I have to
Good
have
chunk.
Yeah, so I have to have a separate set of vents that I open and close and just blow all the wood furnace heat just outside. So because like it gets to be like 160 degrees in the furnace room in the summer if I don't do that. And like people will go in to refill the furnace with logs and just like fall over
die.
and have a
Yeah.
heat stroke.
Yeah.
Um,
The heat tolerance after about 110,
Yeah.
not great in that game.
It's bad. Especially like some of the older, weaker,
Yep.
more feeble colonists.
Well, who's going to be doing your hauling, right?
Yeah. Because no, actually probably not because the older colonists tend to have like a lot of
Hella
developmental
skills, yeah.
Like they're usually chained to the research bench. But yeah, I played a ton of RimWorld. And I bought that new Pokemon game. I got Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and it's delightful and charming. And I've never played I haven't played a handheld, or I haven't played a Pokemon game since like Gold and Silver, or Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So like this is like of a fidelity I'm not accustomed to my Pokemon games being.
Hey Owen, what's your Eevee's name?
My Eevee's name is Pot Roast. He's very good. He wears sunglasses and a black hat, and he looks very tough.
He's a very tough Eevee.
He's a member of Team Rocket, isn't he?
Well,
Can confirm.
His clothes are Team Rocket, like on the Team Rocket like clothing label.
Yeah, no, his clothes are Team Rocket the way my eventual Twitch hoodie.
That's what I'm saying. He's a Team Rocket affiliate.
Yeah. Well, we beat a Team Rocket member, and she gave us Team Rocket clothes.
Here's
And
all my merch.
Just like Keenan's gonna beat up a fruit sneaker.
Yeah. There we go. Very good. So yeah, I've been playing that, and I'm really excited for it. And I bought the stupid Pokeball controller.
You've been swinging it around.
Yeah, I've been fiddling with it. This is a very unergonomic controller to play with because it's small.
Oh, this is a joystick?
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
Whack.
Because the game, so this is a remake of Red and Blue, right? It's a remake of Pokemon Yellow, which is a remake of Red and Blue.
Yeah.
Those games came out in the Game Boy.
Right.
That's a D-pad and 2 buttons.
Right.
So this controller has a joystick, and the joystick presses in for one button, and there's a button on top, and that's all there is. But it's like only like the size of a golf ball. So
wait, where's the second button?
It's,
oh, okay. Cool.
But it makes my hand hurt to use it for a long period of time.
Oh yeah, because you can like grip in this.
Yeah, there's like a death claw thing going, like
which would bother me, except that this thing also functions as a Pokemon Go Plus. You compare it to Pokemon Go, the phone game.
That's cool.
And it auto spin stops, and it vibrates. You push the button, you catch the Pokemon. Also, it works like the pedometer did in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So I can put one of my guys from the Switch game in here and walk them around, and it gets better. So
I think it's like free haircut love.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty happy with it, even though I hate using it as a controller, and I'm not going to use it as a controller.
Right, but all these peripheral things it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Also, I hate that one of the buttons is the joystick pressing in, because when you have to type, you use the joystick to go to the letter you want, and then press in the joystick, and of course, move over to the next letter by accident when you do it, and pick that letter. And because it only has 2 buttons, there's not like an easy delete.
Usability!
Yeah, so it's on its surface, its primary function, it is terrible at, but it's a great device.
Much like the Surface.
Or the first smartphone. Yeah. It was a terrible phone.
So yeah, I've been playing RimWorld and Pokemon, and I don't know, that's kind of about it.
I wonder how indestructible this thing is.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be kind of sturdy, because they expect people to carry it around, and
they expect children to carry it around.
And like go exercising with it and shit.
Yeah. Alright. So like, relatively mellow, like 2 games each kind of show.
Sounds good.
We all play Fallout 2.
Yeah.
We didn't name that, but duh.
Yeah, that's a little redundant. And we do that enough anyway when we record these episodes.
Play Fallout 2?
No, say, and the game I played this week is the game we're here for. It's like, fucking of course, ding dong.
Speaking of sarcastic tones, what explain Fallout 2 to me? Even though I played it when I was 9.
Fallout 2 is an open world computer RPG about rolling through the wasteland. It's a little more grim and serious than the 3D Fallouts, I'd say.
What's the primary objective of Fallout 1?
Fallout 1 is to get the water chip and save your people.
What is the primary objective of Fallout 2?
Get a different device and save your different people.
Actually, I think it's get a car.
Yeah, no, that's definitely how the first half of that game plays out. I'm tired of walking.
I love that car.
Is this like the first instance of like a car providing a purpose in a game? Like earliest? Probably not.
What?
Like a thing, it being like an additional thing you can get that makes quality of life better.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a counterexample.
Yeah.
But this game came out like late enough that like that's probably a thing.
Yeah, they like were 3D games when this game came out.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is this game is the twilight of like isometric sprite games.
Oh yeah, because like this and the Baldur's Gate games were coming out around the same time, right?
The Fallout 3 that never came out was on their first.
And it was
engine.
polygonal and yeah.
It was the engine that was going to be used for the Black Hound, which I think was like a Baldur's Gate game that never 98. Got finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like later.
Yeah,
than I think.
it's like this. Yeah. PlayStations were out. Like.
Yeah. People were playing Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, and like that F1 game that looked super dope when I was 10.
And playing Twisted Metal. Speaking of cars.
Yo.
Yeah. So.
Yo.
Cars and games.
Cars and games.
Can't kill those dogs. Anyway.
All right, where do we start with this game?
Well, so what the Doom agenda says, very first, is... So you already explained what Fallout 2 is to people who are somehow listening to this who don't know what Fallout 2 is. But what the fuck is wrong with Fallout 2?
Yo, okay. So Fallout 2 was already kind of buggy.
Is this
Right.
when we're choosing to do this?
I'm doing this.
All
right. And then...
Are we at the rage segment already?
yeah, it's kind of both. So...
that was in the beginning. We passed it.
So I don't know why my computer really hates Fallout 2.
Honestly, I think you installed it wrong.
I don't know.
I think you installed it in the reverse order. Like, I told you the wrong order when you asked me, and that's what I think what the problem
Okay,
was.
like, I'm done trying to solve the problem because it's solved and I beat the game. But, like, I spent, like, a week and a half off and on, which is my fault, which is why we'll talk about something else in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about it now.
But I ended up dragging our time on this game a little later because I literally had to take a transplant install, because you can do that with old games.
Yeah.
From Matt's computer in our living room to my computer, because it was doing this thing where I would trigger one of 9 events, and then it would tell me that it can't divide by 0 at that RAM address and crash the entire game.
Right, because
Doing, like, core game functions.
So
like,
that was my thing that I was thinking is that what was happening is because you installed the restoration project and then the patch, right? Like that was
I
what
did
you
it the
were
other
doing.
way.
You were doing the other way around. Okay,
Yeah.
So it was then the patch, then the restoration project. I think the restoration project comes with the patch.
it does. So
Right.
I looked it up.
That's what I did.
Okay.
I did the patch and then the restoration project. So.
Okay, well, so
Yeah,
maybe,
no,
maybe my theory falls apart.
No,
but I think-
I did enough science to just be like, my computer hates installing it itself.
Yeah,
like,
so I think like my theory was that it's going, hey, game asset, we're doing a normal ass thing, and then
Yeah.
game asset would be like, that's not where the game asset
Yeah.
lives, and then the whole thing just.
well, and I still got that error anytime I would overheal in combat.
Mm.
So, like, if I super stimmed and only needed 30 hit points and got 40, crash.
Mm,
So, like, I figured out that was the only trigger I was getting now and just avoided doing it.
okay.
But I forget every once in a while.
So
when the game would
even with
crash.
my install, it was still.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's something about the way this game runs and the way it's probably hardware, right? It's probably my RAM because it's giving me RAM addresses in the error. Like, there's something about my computer not liking this game, which is more frustrating than I'm used to with Fallout 2.
Mhm.
And it caused me to just give up for like 12 hours at a time for about a week. So I get the chicken hat this week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will do better about tech supporting my own game instead of just rage quitting. But after that, the game was great when it started working.
Yeah.
I played the first 2 hours of this game like 4 times.
Me too.
I hated it.
I've probably played the first.
I loved
hours,
it.
I've probably played the first 2 hours of this game more times than more than any other part of this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kept vacillating, being like, do I want to do a melee build? Do I not want to do a melee build? Owen says he's doing a melee build. I kind of want to do a melee build. I always do guns.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing a melee build with Owen, which I think is a great segue to talk about where the melee build falls apart. Because for the beginning of the game, it's fine. For the middle of the game,
It's bad.
it's okay.
It's a pain in the ass.
It is a pain in the ass. That is certainly true. I think you can get some good ass damage numbers. I think that it's really annoying that the devs of this game think that knockaway is really, really good
Yeah.
on melee weapons when it's really not. I want to hit that guy again. I want him to be dead now.
Yeah, I don't want to burn action points needing
yeah.
to get to that guy to hit him again.
It seems like putting knockback on the sledge like that would be really cool if you were doing some sort of mixed build where like you knock him away with the sledge and then like shoot him with your gun or something.
Yeah, so I think there was some like critical thinking that didn't happen at some point, or some sort of like envisioning of how someone would make a character in this game that just sort of doesn't really jive with what actually ends up happening, which is you choose one weapon style and you stick with it.
Yeah.
Right. So that sucked, and then the final boss fight, I basically just didn't participate in. Because yeah.
I had to use the character editor to beat it,
Mm.
because I ran into an issue with like, well, we can get into the Frank Hort.
That fight's a discussion on its own.
Yeah,
Like,
I want to talk about the oil rig and the Frank Horrigan fight like as a unit. Or
Well,
like,
so we're talking about like what parts were frustrating to us. So like if,
All right,
if that's
so-
because yeah.
So for the Frank Horgan fight, I had a scripting hitch up where I couldn't activate the counterinsurgency program
Mhm.
that none of the computer consoles would respond
oh,
after
man.
I got the president's key card. so I had to fight Frank Horgan with his turrets.
Oh,
I did too,
God.
but differently.
Yeah, and I'm doing this with a super sledge, and if you're close to the turrets, you just
They
die.
just
die,
do tons of
Yeah,
damage.
yeah. So I ended up cheating when I got to Frank Horgan. Like, I gave it, like, a good hour of, like, crashing against it.
That
It's like,
fight is very specific
Yeah.
in the ways you can approach it.
yeah, and I knew the whole game that fight was coming, and I had been sort of mentally preparing for it, and, like, trying to prepare my character for it. And even with this melee build, like, because I couldn't activate the counterinsurgency program, like, I couldn't do it. And I've had playthroughs in the past get to him and just not be able to beat him.
Right, no, like that's very much a reality of the way that fight is built.
So I guess I had the best interaction with Frank Horgan then.
Well,
Which,
hold on.
okay,
So I did defeat him,
all right.
and it was a very funny time.
You told me you gave yourself like 2 million action
I
points?
gave myself 200 action points,
Okay.
where if you have a super sledge, and you have the bonus rate of attack for melee, that's 2 action points per sledge swing.
Nice, that's 100 hits.
Yeah, so in one turn, you can hit Frank Horgan with the super sledge 100 times.
Yeah.
And he will not fly away from you from knockback.
Steven was telling me that he moves like a pixel away and then reverts back to his
Yeah.
normal position.
How many like damage points per hit were you getting?
So not super great damage, because it's also like probably his best resistance.
Okay.
It's just like plain old physical damage.
Okay.
But here's the thing: if you hit Frank Horgan with the super sledge 100 times in the space of
Some
5
shit's
seconds,
gonna break.
No, he runs away from you. He's afraid of you.
There's like something in the code like, oh, I want to fuck with this guy.
Well, I
Like,
think every NPC has like a hit
threshold,
point threshold
yeah.
where if they're at, they're like, fuck.
Yeah, or if they take so much sudden damage, at least.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, by the time my Frank Horgan got there, he was too crippled to move.
mhm.
Yeah. I ended up getting the other dudes in power armor. I speeched my way into them helping me.
Yeah, you have to get Granite Squad.
Yeah.
Really. Get Granite Squad, get your followers, get the turrets on your side.
So I didn't have my followers, so I had to do the squad.
Oh.
Like, I accidentally left them somewhere else in the base not knowing I couldn't go back.
let them at the wrong door.
Yeah.
It's,
So I left all my followers in that room.
The Frank
like
Horgan
the
room?
front room, because I was
Yeah.
like, I need to speech the whole oil rig. I can't fight all these people.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to, because it'll take forever.
I tried that.
Um,
It was
yeah.
not good.
So I left all them out there, and when I came back and I activated all the turrets, and I had Granite Squad with me, and we started fighting Frank Horgan, I pull out my Ripper, because Ripper ignores 80% of armor,
Mhm.
and does less knockback. So I actually transitioned over to the Ripper as my primary. The Ripper and the Super Cattle Prod were my go-tos, because they do like different types of damage and ignore armor and stuff, and armor becomes a huge deal at the end of the game.
It does. Everyone's in it.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and then what happened was in the first round of combat, before Horrigan even does anything, before any of the turrets even do anything, Vic goes first, and Vic takes his Gauss rifle, aims it at Goris, and blows up Goris's face. And then Sulik pulls out his super sledge and his power armor and caves in Vic's head. And then Frank Horgan turns on Sulik and it blows up Sulik. And then Cassidy and I are like, hey, do you want to leave and let him fight the turrets and Granite Squad? And Cassidy's like, yeah, let's get out of here. I have a Pancor jackhammer, so
I got a bad heart.
yeah, like, let's get out of here. So me and Cassidy just leave because that happened for some fucking reason. Vic, so that's the thing, is I don't think it was a miss, because Vic had to like turn around to shoot Goris.
Were they technically in your party?
They were not technically in my party at that
Okay.
point, so I think that might have had something to do with it.
Vic's got a thing against
Vic's-
Deathclaw.
Vic hates Deathclaws, or is scared of Deathclaws or something. So that happened.
Vic by far gains most traitorous, by the way. He's very good at shooting his
He's
friends.
the worm that went to the dark side.
Yep.
Yeah. Shit, I was going to talk about it. Oh, right, Kaga. So one of the
Fucking
new
Kaga.
things that can happen is there's another member of your village you can run into as a random encounter named Kaga.
I question its randomness.
Yeah, and he's like, well, it's a random.
There's
encounter.
very clear breakpoints where this happens.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm the actual chosen one. Fuck you, it should be me, and he tries to kill you. In the waste with him and his buddies, right? So I managed to avoid this encounter for a very long time. And when I actually got this encounter, Kaga was in full power armor.
Oh yeah,
And-
because he has escalating.
Yeah, he has
encounters.
Yeah,
like
and so-
tiers that he.
And all his buds were in metal armor, and he went first and got a double turn because I was on a melee character with low perception, and he threw 3 plasma grenades at my clustered party, killing all 3 of my party members
Hell yeah!
and leaving me with like half HP, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not accepting that as an outcome, so we're loading the game. Like,
Sure.
Oh, that's amazing.
I only got like Kaga's like first like 3 encounter types where he shows up and just runs away. But I found out his random encounters are geographically locked. That like if you leave that top of the map by like the Den and Klamath and like Modok,
I
and,
only ever got him when I went in that direction.
Yeah. So like by the time in the game where I just like wasn't going around there that much, like it's like never saw Kaga again. He's probably out in the wasteland like cursing my name because he fucking hates me for some reason.
I fought him hand to hand. I fought him with really low small guns.
I fought him in the streets. I fought him on the beaches.
He showed up in leather armor. He showed up in
he got up to full leather armor with me, not the jacket, but like the
actual leather
like,
armor,
football pad stuff.
I ended up fighting him in combat armor, and he had a pretty rad rifle. It seemed because there was some good damage coming out of him, but we still just fucked his day up.
So,
and then he died.
I have a lot of memories of doing an unarmed build in this game on a weird rip of this game on Mac where fast shot still applied to unarmed attacks.
That's just like an old Fallout 2 thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
No, it's a Fallout 1 thing, so it's not supposed to be in Fallout 2. That's not supposed to be the case. Was what I read online.
I think it's patched out in the unofficial patch.
And NMA. I'm not sure where it's not patched in or out or whatever, but it was not the way it was supposed to be. So what ended up happening is on that build, I used to break like all scripted unarmed encounters, like the boxing ring and the kung fu matches. I would kill them in the first round. And then the game,
none of the triggers can happen.
Game would break. And so this time around, I killed them in the first round by doing targeted shots to like the dick or the eyes or the face. And they died, but the unofficial patch or something was just like, it's fine, let's move on.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, the fight's over? Here you go.
That's good.
Yeah. So the dragon came at me and I was like, dick, face. Right. And he's just like, oh, I'm dead. Right.
So, what kind of stuff in the restoration project aside from Kaga did you guys get up to?
I went to the EPA.
Oh, really?
The plants hit hard in the well, okay, they don't hit hard, but they take shitloads of damage compared to the plants you're used to.
As the oral nuts say, tree world, we go hard.
Yeah. Yeah, they have like 80 hit points each.
Yeah.
So you gotta like really fucking rip into these plants.
I heard
to
the
get
EPA
rid of
is kind of a slog.
It-
I went once when I first heard about the restoration project years ago, and I never really got too deep in it.
So let me tell you about my experience with the EPA. I went to the top right of the map, and there's a whole place that's like vats of what normally would be FEV, but in this case there's a lot of green goo on the ground.
Sure.
And there's mutant plants everywhere, and there's stairs that are locked. Like they are shut. Presumably I have to go open them somewhere. So I go into the main building after fighting off more plants in the yard, because there's just tons of them all over the yard.
Yeah.
And I go up to the computer, and the computer's like, hey buddy, welcome to the EPA. Here's the 9 levels of this building that are here, and they're all color-coded. And I read them, and I was like, I don't want to do this, and I left.
Oh, okay.
So...
Sure. Yeah, I've heard it's kind of a slog. It's it's a combat dungeon.
There
basically.
are dark portents in the table of contents of that dungeon. Like, it's like, oh yeah, here's where the bioweapons are. I'm like, no, later. I'll do this later.
Yeah, it's supposed to be just like filled with like fucking mutant monsters.
Yeah, no,
and
like
shit.
it seemed like I would see a lot of new things.
Did you guys go to the Abbey?
Abbey. Who's Abbey?
Like the Abbey, like the giant Abbey out in the middle of the desert.
Nope, didn't even find it, apparently.
Oh, that's too bad. There's the Abbey from A Canticle for Leibowitz.
Oh, cool.
Is just out in the desert, kind of near Vault City and Gecko.
Okay.
And like the monks there, like have monsters in their basement for you to plunge out. It seems like not fully fleshed out.
Yeah.
The quests there aren't like super robust. There's like one guy who lives near the Abbey who thinks the monks should knock it off, and basically gives you a quest to go into their Abbey and format the hard drives on their computers. But like it's kind of neat. You find a copy of the Flame Deluge, which is what the monks in that book. It's a book. I Can't Call for Leibowitz is a book that this whole encounter is based on, and the Flame Deluge is what they refer to the Great the Great Nuclear War as. I thought it was pretty neat, but if a little unfinished.
Yeah.
Sulek's Village is super cool though. Did you guys go do that?
Yeah, I
didn't go there. I
went to
regret
Sulek's
that.
Village. Can you go into the cave by the beach?
I never figured out how to get into the cave.
Yeah, I didn't figure out how to do that either.
I bet that's something that was literally unfinished.
Yeah.
And like the restoration project just sort of like tidied it up by
Yeah.
putting a guy in front that says you can't go in.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
my
yeah,
suspicion.
I did the Pig's Blood Stimpaks quest.
Oh yeah.
And I did the Ghost Lady. And I think that's it. Besides,
Can we talk about the Stimpak quest? There's something that occurred to me when I was doing this quest. Like, in Fallout 3 and 4 and New Vegas, like, those games are zany and loud and big, but, like, not quite in the way Fallout 2 is. And Fallout 2 does it in this way that you can't do in those games. Because, like, the guy who gives you that quest, his name is literally Crom.
Mm-hmm.
And when you examine him, it describes Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Like, in Conan.
He is Conan the Barbarian.
And he even, like, if you ask him about his life, he basically describes, like, the Riders of Doom coming and destroying his village, and him, like...
He literally says Riders of Doom.
Yeah, and, like... It, like,
Yo.
alludes to, like, the Riddle of Steel and shit
Wasteland
like
Thulsa Doom.
that. Yeah, that'd be pretty
I'm
alright.
into it.
I mean, that's just the master, right? Steel is strong, but flesh is stronger.
Yeah, the master stylistically doesn't speak to me the way Thulsa Doom does.
But anyway, like, if you put this guy in, like, Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, it would be ridiculous to have, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, my name is Crom, like,
Well,
crush your enemies.
That's
like,
why the Tarzan guy in Fallout 4 in the Nuka-Cola segment doesn't work for me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've never done Nuka World, so...
Yeah, Nuka World, there's this dude you run into who's, like, raised by apes, and you can get the apes to help you out, and it's like, this perfectly fits with Fallout's aesthetic, but this doesn't work because it's fully voice acted.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
Right, part of the tongue-in-cheek stuff of early Fallouts is that you don't have all this effort into it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
That it's just like, hey, what if we did this?
Well, and
like,
there's like a distance between you and what you're reading, so
Yeah.
that it's not like really distracting.
Um,
You know, it's like sometimes like you'll see like computers like blurp out like quotes from movies
Yeah.
and shit like that in the game. And if it was doing that in a 3D Fallout where you're hearing voice acted lines,
Yeah.
recite lines from Star Wars or whatever,
if Marcus continuously yelled, Chris Avalone loves you,
Yeah.
that would be weird.
so I know you have a distaste for the stupid superhero shit that they did in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Do you think that would like land better if it were presented in much the same way that like this kind of content is presented?
Maybe those are so like the Mechanist and the Antagonist is what
Mhm.
we're talking about.
Mhm.
Like,
And the Silver Shroud.
oh, is there another one?
Yeah, and the four there's another one.
Great. It maybe, but like part of what makes Crom work in Sulik's village is that like his whole shtick of being from Conan the Barbarian is like honestly not very important to what you're doing, and it's like really just a couple pages of dialogue when you're talking
It's
to
not
him.
the main focus.
Yeah, whereas like
Right.
there's no way to like make the Antagonist and the Mechanist and the Silver Shroud not be ridiculous superheroics.
And like everyone talks about them.
Yeah.
Right? Like the game pushes this on you in such a way.
yeah, whereas like Crom's whole deal, his real story is about getting ripped off about Stimpaks.
Mhm.
you
Right,
know?
and you were part of that,
Yeah,
and it fits with the rest of the universe.
yeah, exactly.
But he makes all these silly references that are totally tertiary instead of being a core thing. There's not a radio station for it. There's not all of this focus.
Yeah, people,
in world on
you
it.
only see people talking about Crom, you know, and so it's just like a little one-off joke, and so you can see the joke, you can enjoy it, and then you can like put it behind you,
You
and
can
move on
ignore
and,
it.
like
Yeah.
What's so rad about rad scorpions?
yeah,
Yep.
keep experiencing that world.
Right, things have a place
Mhm.
in older Fallout, right? This exists here, it is a dumb joke, but it lives here.
Okay.
Instead of like everyone yelling about it.
So this is kind of a non sequitur as far as what the current line of conversation is, but I need to say it before I forget about it.
Do
What's
it.
that?
So I was listening to Daft Punk the other day in the car.
Okay.
I was listening to Alive 2007,
Mhm.
and there was this noise that happened, and it was like it was during the song, and it was I'm gonna do my best here, but I'm making this noise with my mouth, and it normally comes out of a fucking synthesizer. So like, give me a break.
Okay.
All right, it goes. Doo, right,
Okay.
and that noise happens in the soundtrack of both Fallout games.
Oh, really?
Right, it's like that. So
They like
it's-
borrowed it.
Yeah, it's
from
one of
the same
those
sound
it's-
library
I
or
don't
whatever.
know if it's like from the same sound, but like it's one of those noises in one of the atmospheric tracks where it's like, do you know what I'm talking about? Does this?
Is it the Arroyo music?
I think it's part of the Arroyo music. It's like this weird like mid-range tone.
I kind of have an idea of what
Yeah,
you mean.
it's
like
You just reminded me of a thing though.
Mm.
The Abbey has its own music that is not anywhere else in Fallout.
yeah.
Hmm.
So like, sorry, I'm gonna.
Well, we're talking about music now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine. Yeah.
So like, it was like for me, my favorite part of being in that encounter is like this really surreal experience of like hearing this music that's probably been buried for 20 years.
Yeah.
That I've never heard before, that is like stylistically completely in line with the rest of the game.
But it's not part of this thing that we've enjoyed for most of our lives.
Yeah.
It's this missing piece.
It's like, how have I never heard this before?
Yeah.
Or like hearing Sulik say something you've never heard Sulik say before. Sulik is... I've had a longer relationship with Sulik than most people I know.
Yeah.
Right?
And then to have more of him.
And you think that relationship is codified in these very, like, finite ways, and then to hear something new 20 years on is freaky. It's fucking freaky.
It's weird getting all that new stuff, and at the same time I'm sitting there saying, we be good with fists, spear, hammer, like I am literally saying some of these lines out loud with him, and then it's like, oh, new stuff, and like he has way more combat text, and he has way more like...
Keenan.
Yeah.
What you mean?
Yeah, exactly. like there are things about Sulik that are in me, right? Like in a way that.
But yeah, if you do his sister's questline, like he says new things.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, the voiced line about him wanting to leave the village with you again.
Yeah,
was like, whoa, Sulik, you're saying things I've never heard before.
Yeah.
He's no longer like pull the strings Sulik, right?
It's like listening to an old album and there's like a new track on there.
Yeah, or like Woody suddenly coming to life from a toy store and speaking.
Yeah, he's no longer somebody poisoned the water hole the whole time.
Or there's a snake in my ionized boot.
Or it's like when an artist dies and they unearth like a song they recorded 20 years ago.
Yeah, and it it totally like feels like an album,
and it's not like it's in their. It's not just that it's in their style. It's in their style from when they were making music in 1968.
Right, like this very specific point, and you can point at it, and you be like, this happened at the same time. Like,
Yeah, and so like the Crom thing feels very much like that. It's like that style of like sort of like I don't know what else to call it, but like geeky referential humor to
there's some dude who's like bought Conan on VHS and loved it and put that into the game because fucking Conan rules. Like
Conan does rule, and in the apocalypse we should all watch it with the sound off.
Yeah, that's a fact.
God damn it. So I really appreciated that, like, there's points in this game, like, so I had only ever gotten to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, I wandered away from Fallout 2 the few times I've done
this
that
was one of those games from my childhood that I just apparently just kind of never finished.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that I experienced for the first time that I didn't know was in the game, or wasn't. And that's where, like, when I got stuck in places, because it's a old school point-and-click adventure game, and I looked it up, like, oh, what are my options here in the walkthrough? Like, I was like, oh, the submarine just wasn't in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another new zone.
Like, oh, cool. The submarine, like, and that part wasn't, like, that broad in the same way a lot of the other things are, because it's definitely him just kind of like, yeah, put that in there.
And that's like another one of those ones that's kind of like Sulik's Village, where, like, Sulik, when you pick him up, tells you his sister's lost, and he'll join you if you agree to help him find his sister.
But you never have to do that.
Yeah, and in Fallout 2, as it was released, you can never find his sister. And so it's always like one of those conspicuously absent things.
Yeah.
And just like the She, when you meet them and you learn about their history and they talk about this submarine, they say it's still there. They say it still works.
Right.
But like you can't see it. You can't go there.
Well, and the tanker guy probably doesn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like...
Well, no, you still need the IFF transponder, oddly enough, in base Fallout 2.
Oh, yeah?
You still need to not get shot.
Well, because there's dialogue about there being, like, giant guns on the oil rig, so that makes sense, right? Like, yeah. So, I really liked a lot of that later content in that game that I hadn't experienced. Like, I didn't play New Reno very deeply.
Did you spend a lot of time in Reno? This playthrough, I mean?
I spent a lot of time in Reno.
I want to say I did, but I probably didn't. Okay. Like,
there's a lot to do in Reno.
It seems like there's a lot there.
I did everyone's quests up till the point where they're going to make me a made man.
Sure, it's where you have to pick.
Then I went with the rights, but only after I destroyed their still.
Oh, okay.
And only after I had sex with one of the bishop women.
Sure.
And then
that's good to do.
And then I went into casino. Like I went into a casino accidentally one time, and they all started attacking me because I was a made man with the rights, and I was like, "Oh, we're doing this."
Yeah.
And I just murdered all of them.
We're
and
doing this.
I could do that everywhere, and I went to all the other casinos, and I had already killed everyone in Sal's because the fat guy wanted me to.
You know, there's a way to get to Navarro from the Salvatore family.
Yeah.
Like they have a hook?
There's like one of their quests is that you go supervise a deal between them and the Enclave.
Huh.
And if you break up the deal and just shoot everyone, you can get in the vertibird and fly it to Navarro.
That's kind of incredible.
Yeah, well, just imagine getting off that vertibird.
Yeah. Having fought through Navarro, yes.
Yeah, as a person who killed everyone in Navarro this time, yep, it's tough, man.
I mean, I've done it before.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do it this time.
That's actually the encounter that made me start using the Ripper. There's a ton of
everyone's
tons of dudes with power armor there.
Yeah, I was just like,
which is a huge power spike at that point in the game.
I'm doing like no damage, and I'm seeing these people across the map, and they're just shooting me with their plasma rifles again, so they just need to be dead.
Yeah.
It sucks that Sulik can't use the Ripper because he doesn't have the animation. But
it's like the sole reason.
I mean, I guess like all of the characters have like arbitrary restrictions on their weapons.
Yeah.
So like it's probably just a stylistic thing. Like Sulik knows how to use a hammer. He doesn't know how to use a robot knife.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about how Fallout 2 is a type of sequel that we can't have anymore.
Okay.
In 2018, if something were like Fallout 2, like Fallout 2 is close enough to its original and enough of just like sort of an iterative product.
Just using the framework of the previous game.
That like most of the time, the majority of the time, that does not happen. What you get instead is iteration within one product. Like this would be a patch, right? And it wouldn't be like a whole new storyline.
Well, right? I think like you would get a sequel like Fallout 2, but it wouldn't like the engine would be different enough that you could never think for a second that there'd be a way to mod Fallout 1 into Fallout 2. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, Fallout 1 and 2, like, very clear, it's like, it's all the same menus. It all runs on the same, like, the same engine, the same map.
Except for the take-all button.
Well,
I want to advocate for the take-all button.
Okay, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Nah,
I'm not talking about, like, little buttons here and there. Like, I'm talking about, like, the dialogue
core
windows
of the
are the
game,
same.
yeah.
The save system is the same. The overworld map is the same with the buttons and the labels.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to show love for the take-all button, that's all.
Okay, forgot what I was going to say. If we got a sequel like that today, it wouldn't be that same just toolbox like copy and pasted. I guess like the only example I can think of that is Fallout New Vegas, where that's like very obviously the same engine and uses all the same menus and a lot of the same models and things like that. But like you would get something like Fallout 2, but it would be as different from Fallout 1 as Fallout 4 is from Fallout 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that Fallout 2 is good and right on the heels of Fallout 1. And most of the games that we get that are iterative like that now are not as good as their original. The second Middle-earth game, second Middle-earth Batman game is like narratively everything that is wrong with a sequel, and that's the only thing I can think of in modern games that's like that sort of blueprint where it is mostly the same game.
I was gonna say Shadowrun.
Okay, yeah.
That would be like. But I'm not saying there aren't exceptions to that. I'm just saying
this seems more like it's that this tier, like this double A tier of development, just doesn't exist very much anymore.
Yeah.
That like it's either very small. Or it's they're very, very large.
It's 12
companies.
people or 120.
Yeah,
right.
Or 1,200 people.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about how I think if this were a more modern project, that we would just see like a slow patching into sort of what Fallout 2 is, rather than just a separate product. Which is, I don't know what that is, but it is what it is. I don't know. I like Fallout 2 more than Fallout 1. I'll put that out there. Yeah.
Well, there's more to roll around in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Fallout 1 is a great game, but there's a lot more room to spread out and a lot less, like, proof of concept stuff. And they definitely learned a ton.
Well, and there's more, like, we talked about this in our Fallout 1 episode, that, like, there's actually not that many towns in Fallout 1.
There's not a lot going on.
They're not as big as you remember. Like, you kind of have to go to everywhere at least once.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of places in Fallout 2. Like I went to New Reno in this playthrough, but I barely did, and it was only to get something very specific. And that's just because I've played New Reno a ton of times. I've done that on a different playthrough. You can beat the game without ever going to New Reno. You can beat beat the game without ever going to Vault City or MODOK or Gecko or Redding. Like, basically, the only mandatory towns, as far as I can tell, are you have to go to San Francisco, you have to go to Navarro, you obviously have to go to Arroyo because you start there, and then like there's a fourth town you have to go to because there's a few different ways to get to Vault 13. So you have to go to one of the places that can lead to Vault 13.
Yeah. So on that note,
Mhm.
I fight Frank Horrigan, Gauss rifle to the eyes while Granite Squad takes the bullets.
Sure.
By the time Frank was in any condition to run, he was so crippled he couldn't
Mhm.
in my game. But I fight through him, and then I get to the end, and I'm like, oh, right. Fallout ending, right? Like,
yeah, oh yeah, you
it's
get your
gonna
epilogue.
exposit at me
I was
about
gonna ask you
everything.
about what kind of towns you guys rolled through.
So, literally everything is a mess in my game, because I didn't really finish anywhere.
Okay.
Right? So, like, New Reno gets taken over by the Mordinos, and they just sort of spread.
Mhm.
Vault City sort of takes over Gecko and the Gold Redding. Redding's the gold place?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they end up taking both of those over. Vault 15 gets swallowed by the NCR. Like, eventually Vault City gets swallowed by the NCR. Like everything just sort of, like, propagates outward
Yeah, the power players
in the
just,
factional sense.
just went unmolested and
Yeah.
took over the wasteland.
Yeah, so, like, I got rid of the Enclave, but I didn't really solve a problem doing that, because everything else just kind of blew up from there. Like, the She expanded, it was it was interesting.
So in my game, the She expanded and the Vault City expanded enormously, and I had solved all of Vault City's problems to the point where they were like a power to rival the NCR and didn't get absorbed.
Oh, really?
Right? And they did fine. And
So,
then
I only helped Vault City insofar as helping the citizens of Gecko, because, like, Vault City's fine. Like, they don't need my help.
They're
Sure.
fine and also fuck
So,
them.
like, I only helped them in the sense that, like, I need to fix the Gecko power plant so the Vault City people don't kill the ghouls.
Mhm.
And that's the outcome I got. And then the NCR, I got the NCR annexes Vault City.
Yeah.
Which is like, hey, good for NCR, and like, fuck Vault City.
Well, I just want to add that the Vault City that I helped turn into its own city state was also much more egalitarian and integrated with Gecko.
Oh yeah.
It was the good ending on that
Oh,
part.
that's good.
You
And they
brokered that.
and they took over like Redding and Modoc and were cool to them too, and like stopped having slaves. And yeah, and then when NCR showed up, they were like, "You put a spy in here, we hate you, so fuck off." Right? Yeah. So.
I had one of my endings was kind of bad. That kind of bummed me out, because like I kind of put Klamath back together.
Mhm.
Like, I took out Metzger and I fixed things up, and then like I think one of the new Reno families just rolled in and fucked it up. And,
Yeah.
like the Den ending was good, and then when the title card came for New Reno fucked up my shit.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do anything
Yeah,
with New
the
Reno.
Mordino family was just like, yo.
Mhm.
The new Reno ending for me was that the Wright family grew to prominence because all the other families were dead.
Yeah.
Nice.
But then about a generation after that, they sort of were petering out because they couldn't make booze anymore because I broke all their stills. And then my son just took over all of New Reno.
Oh sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. If you leave a child in one of the bishop women,
Yeah.
your son always figures into the epilogue there.
Yeah.
Let's
But
see.
New Reno didn't like do anything to any other towns because all the families were dead.
As far as I can tell, the She always do great.
Yeah.
Like, unless you kill them all.
Yeah.
Because like,
Oh, I wiped out the Hobologists.
oh well, come
Yeah.
on, like, how do you not, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to fuel that tanker somehow. The tanker ain't gonna fuel itself.
The She liked me enough, so I went and did it with their computer.
So I got into the computer and I couldn't get it to transfer the fuel, so
Yeah.
I just went and rolled through.
There's
the
a lot of
just-
clicks deep.
Yeah.
A lot of clicks
Yeah,
deep. Like,
I spent a while banging on the
fucking
Emperor.
12
Um,
clicks later. Oh, cool fuel. Nice. Meanwhile, I'm like reading all this expository shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is fucking cool. And then it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, fuel. Yeah, do that thing. Put it on the tanker. Like,
Did, this is kind of an aside, but did you ever run into the She in New California yet?
No, I didn't get very far into it. I'm gonna let that game sit because the release they had at the end of October was the beta release, and the official release isn't until December.
Okay.
And I found it to be pretty glitchy and weird.
Yeah.
So I'm
hopefully it's cleaned up.
gonna let them do that 1.0 release
Yeah.
and give it another crack. I never got to the She in that, and I'm very excited to see them. I like those.
Yeah, they're a
guys.
cool faction. I'd never
Yeah.
really dealt with them because I'd
Yeah.
gotten to San Francisco
Well,
and stuff.
and they're very insular, so like they don't interact with any of the other factions in the
Right.
game.
They are there.
Yeah.
That is what they are doing.
They sold me power armor.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's man, San Francisco's a hell of a town, you know? Like there's two merchants that have a ton of high-end tech to sell in the front of town.
So I like never found the right merchants apparently.
Oh, really?
When I had a Gauss rifle and a Gauss pistol, it's because they were in the oil rig and I found them.
Oh, so they'll sell you Gauss gear and power armor and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saved money all game so I could buy Gauss weapons from them.
And like caseless ammunition.
Yeah.
And then there's also a merchant on the tanker.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty alright.
And like San Francisco is, even though it's only a few screens, it is very big.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot going
on
in San Francisco, especially coming from Fallout 1, right?
Well,
Like
it's that thing we were talking about with the hub, where like in the hub there's a lot of like space that's not there for your protagonist's benefit.
content, yeah.
You know, like it's people living their lives, and so like a lot of San Francisco is that like
Most of it.
yeah, there's only like a handful of quest lines.
Right.
It's not like a super deep
Right, so I probably just talked to the
place.
wrong people,
It's
right?
Merchant, Dragon, Lopan, and then that whole screen is garbage.
Yeah.
And then there's the Emperor's Palace, the Hubologist, and the Tanker. And those actually
That
have
Brotherhood
stuff going
bunker's
on.
mad boring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. The Brotherhood bunker's there.
Oh, but you can talk to the computer. Did you ever
No,
talk to him
I
in
don't
there?
think I did that.
Oh, he's lonely.
No. I like that when you give the vertebrate plans to the Brotherhood, they're like, cool, I'll copy these.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I'm double dipping. Right over to the She and gave them the vertebrate plans
Yeah.
too.
It super sucks if you give it to the she first. They're like, thanks. And
Yep.
you're like,
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, because I was expecting it to be one or the other.
Mhm.
And then he's like, oh yeah, here's your copy. And I'm like,
The
Okay.
the actual one or the other is between the she and some other. It's like the evil. If you're evil, you can give it to the Hubologist, I think.
no,
So
fuck
What
those
the
guys.
fuck are they gonna do with it?
uh,
They have a rocket plane that's gonna blow up on that fucking runway.
On that bridge.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the Golden Gate Bridge
Oh, sure.
until I was like reading a thing about the Hubologist, because I was like, what are these dudes about? And it's like, yeah, they hang out at the Golden Gate Bridge. And I walked back into the screen, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like a support pylon for, okay, duh. Like, that's why this is an 8-lane road
Fucking
with a
ding-dongs.
space plane on it.
Oh man, you know what's a funny thing I found in this game? So you know how when we did Fallout 1, we were talking about like all these like arcane uses for items you can have in your inventory? I found an arcane use for an item I had never used in like the 20
Are we
years.
talking about like steal a grenade into someone's inventory, like that kind of thing?
I was talking more like stuff like the rope.
Okay, yeah.
If you bring up the like use item on cursor,
Okay.
if you have high strength, you can use a crowbar to force open locked things.
Sick.
Because when I
Because there's all these specific tools in that game.
yeah, all the tools are usable, even though they don't necessarily seem like it.
But in like an intuitive way that if you were to try it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, if you were of the inclination that I should try and use these tools.
So use the crowbar with high strength when the lock is jammed? Is
Yeah,
that basically?
or when you suck at lockpicking. Like,
Yeah.
when I had to get the fob from the base commander at Navarro,
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't open his lockers.
Mm-hmm.
My lockpicking just wasn't there. And I was like, fuck it, man. Like,
I pulled it off his corpse. Like,
well, no, I mean, this wasn't to get the fob.
Yeah.
This was just like, no, what's in these lockers?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I approached Arroyo completely wrong, apparently. Like, I was like, alright, we're gonna go fight the Enclave now. And like, that was a rough fight.
yeah.
I definitely loaded it a few times. I got through it. Like, I was okay enough to get what I needed out of the basement.
Mhm.
And then I went upstairs and was like, no, I can't do this right now. And I
Yeah.
left. But then you guys were like, you can just walk in and talk to him if you don't bring anyone. I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah,
whoops.
Yeah, you get free access to that base. It's like actually like a
Well, and that's how I did the oil
a
rig.
little ridiculous.
Was like,
even.
I did the same thing. I like cleared out one floor and I'm like, wait a minute. And I like walked down into I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so I did the rest of the oil rig that way, but that meant that everyone was trapped on the second floor and I couldn't get back to the detainment level
Okay.
while
interesting.
fighting Frank.
Sure. That's
So like
interesting.
everyone was downstairs or on the boat already, depending. I also didn't have any followers when I got off the boat at the dock, so presumably they were locked downstairs and are dead.
Yeah. That is what that means. That's correct.
Which probably has a lot to do with why my ending was a hellscape. Is because like none of the people I had influenced.
The followers don't. The followers don't really figure into
Okay.
the epilogue. Like Sulik doesn't get an epilogue, which is kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer. Sulik is
Myron
great.
gets stabbed.
Yeah. Myron gets an epilogue.
I didn't even run into Myron.
Well, you have to get in deep with the Mordinos.
That makes sense.
Each of the Nerino families has like a cool thing.
Okay.
Where if you get in deep with them, they give you like a cool thing. So
Okay.
like if you get in deep with the Wrights, they'll tell you how to get to the Sierra Army Depot. And that's like a cool little dungeon where there's like a cool follower and there's a bunch of stuff you can fuck around with and a lot of weapons.
Okay.
If you get in deep with the bishops, you can fuck with fuck with Vault City, like they're because
Right, because there's the whole...
Mrs. Bishop is from Vault City.
Okay, and the dude tells you to take a case to them.
Yeah.
like-
And so there's like some political intrigue there. The Mordinos are the ones making Jet, which is like why in like all our epilogues the Mordinos like fucking rolled all over the wasteland because Jet's just
if
taken
you don't
over.
stop the flow of Jet, it just does
and,
things.
and so that's where you can get Myron,
Yeah.
the follower, because he's the inventor of Jet.
Yeah.
Jet was invented in Fallout 2, listeners.
Yep.
It's made out of poop.
Yeah, and then Salvatore is the one that can get you onto the vertibird. Like,
okay.
if you do that,
Right.
Also, he sets you up with the weapon merchant in town and gets you a discount, which is cool.
I feel like my merchants weren't regenerating their gear.
Oh yeah.
So by the end of the game, like my trunk is full of guns, I am full of guns, all my followers
my
are full
truck
of
was just
guns.
always full of shit.
Yep.
Like, cause like I would go to like every merchant, take all their money,
Yep.
and then like at a certain point you have to start just using other items as currency.
Yep.
Yeah, like any meds you have.
Yeah,
Are mine now.
well, it's like all meds, all money. That's like
Step
first
one.
order of business. And then it's like, okay, I guess I'm going to start collecting power armors.
Yeah.
In my trunk.
I'm gonna take all your grenades and ammunition I might use.
Yeah, and so like I had this trunk that was always just like full of like random ass shotguns and submachine guns and.
I think you guys were talking about melee being hard mid-game. I think mid-game in general, combat-wise, is a weird thing in that game.
Yeah, but also melee has very few steps up in power.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of parts where melee lags behind guns in like a really big way.
That makes sense.
Like you can't get a super sledge until you probably go to San Francisco. There's
I
some
didn't
of
run
them
into one until
scattered
around
around
there.
the game, but they're kind of hard to find. So like you're gonna be running just like a sledge,
Yeah.
or something simple like that.
It's like a guns character in this game. Starting point is a pipe rifle or a 10 mil.
Yeah.
Right? And then the starting point for a melee is the spear, which the spear's great. And then you get a deagle and we get nothing.
When we get the sharp spear.
Yeah. Plus
Yeah.
1 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you get like a 14mm pistol, we get nothing.
Yeah.
Um,
And then I get a hunting rifle and you still have a spear.
I got nothing.
And then
Yeah.
you get Panker jackhammers, and you get miniguns, and it's like, okay, I got the one sledge upgrade, I got the good sledge. That's it. Oh, Ripper. There's Ripper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think in my character over the course of the game used spear, sharp spear, sledge, super sledge.
Yep.
And that was it. So like the granularity is really big on the.
I was
weapon
very
upgrades.
picky about damage ranges on guns, but there were definitely options.
Yeah. there's a
I
lot of
used
stuff.
the Louisville Slugger that Mrs. Wright gives you for breaking the stills
Oh,
for a
cool.
very long time. That thing is amazing.
Cool.
So
Yeah, I only got in with the rights once playing this game,
Mm.
like in all my years playing Fallout, and it was specifically because I found out that's how you get into the Sierra Army Depot, and I was like, okay, well, let's do that, because I want to see this location I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's,
hidden.
that's the thing that's cool about Fallout 2 compared to Fallout 1 is there's so much in the game you can absolutely miss giant pieces of it. And I like that, right? Like, I like that I finished the game the way I did, but I also might come back to it at some point because I know there's a lot more in there, and that's great. Like, yeah. And that each of those places, like, when I would clear out a town, I'd have, like, 8 missions done, right? Like, that each of those places has, like, a deep through line is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like in Klamath, you can like fucking open an orphanage for all the kids. You know the kids
Yeah.
that steal your shit.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, the way you're supposed to get rid of them is you get them a home instead of killing them.
Yep.
And shit like that.
and that wasn't possible before Resto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really figure out if there's any good ending for Klamath. Like if there's anything you can do.
If you open the orphanage and kill Metzger, it's about as good as you can
Well,
get.
not the den. Klamath,
Oh, Klamath.
the gecko trapping town. Like
It's fine.
yeah, this is
Klamath is fine.
they're hunting geckos.
You kill those 2 assholes who were fucking with Tor.
The Dentons.
Yeah, and then you're good.
Yeah,
I
they-
didn't help Tor this time.
Oh, I farmed them for XP hard.
I wanted to get rolling, so I didn't really want to fuck around with Klamath. I was like, fuck you, Klamath. Like I've been here like a million times.
Yeah, if you take out King Rat and you take out the Dentons, you're good.
Yeah. Like, replaying the beginning of that game wouldn't have been so bad if I'd chosen it, but it was literally, like, corrupted saves and reinstalls, and, yeah, it was bad.
I think the oil rig is, like, a really perplexingly designed piece of, like, environment. Like, it's another one of those areas where there's a ton of stuff in there that's just to show you it's there, right?
It's to justify the Enclave's existence.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And you got to ask yourself when you look at it, like, what was the expectation of how the player would tackle this?
Yeah.
Were there multiple ways that they expected you to do this, or was it all just
I
talking?
mean, yeah, I mean, it's really just like release the
I can't imagine pushing through it combat wise. I can't. The electrified rooms on turn based would suck.
You know the thing about that, right?
No.
It's if you do a science check on the first console, you can open all the doors.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's just not a thing.
Okay.
And like I think you'll still take like a shock when you run through the whole thing.
Right.
But like
That makes sense though.
I remembered that puzzle room and I was like, all right, I need to make sure like I like science and repair weren't my tag skills, but it's like I need to make sure my science and
Make
repair
sure you're at the
are up high
thresholds.
enough because I knew that was like an option that you can like fuck with it and like it stops being a problem.
Yeah.
Because like I remember just toiling.
So that room is why I ended up doing the rest of the base alone, is because I didn't want all my followers just like dying.
Sure.
Right.
Did you get the second Gek
Yeah.
and the advanced Mark II?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had that on. Man, Horgan barely did damage to me with that shit on.
Yeah,
It was rad.
Stuff.
Like, the difference between those percentages on the 1 and 2 was a big help.
Yeah. It's got good resistances on it. I love the way in the oil rig, the loot in all the lockers very clearly telegraphs like, yeah, like this is the end of the game.
Yeah.
You know, like there's just
Here's all the stuff you might have missed.
well, just like there's Gauss rifles everywhere because it makes sense for the Enclave to have Gauss rifles everywhere, but it's not like game breaking that you can like loot like 14 Gauss rifles on the oil rig.
Also, if you fight those dudes, none of them have guns.
Who?
The guys in the break rooms,
Oh, okay.
none of them have guns because they're on break. Like,
So like back to the oil rig though, like it's not like there's no like really robust and interesting multi-dimensional solutions to the oil rig. It's like you let your tribe out, you release the FEV, and you go fight Frank Horrigan. And like you can go talk to Dick Richardson, and like he's got some cool like world buildy type dialogue you can have with him. And there's like some of that talking to all the various people.
right.
But it's all pretty.
Yeah.
It's all pretty
Do the
chill.
FUV, start the bomb, blow up
Yeah.
the generator, leave.
Yeah.
Like-
It's like on this playthrough, I sort of realized it's kind of an undercooked area.
It makes sense though, right? Like, it's the end of the game. It's probably the last thing that was developed. Like,
it strikes me as a less severe, but still on the same sort of wavelength as the difference between I've been playing Deus Ex. What is this boss fight sequence? Why is it 100% different from the rest of the game? I think Owen has a very good point. This area feels different than the rest of the game.
I think part of it might be is like I don't feel this way about the Master's Lair or the military base in Fallout 1. And even though those are like very like military base, there's really only like two ways to go about things there. Like you can like roll in and fuck it all up, or you can join the Master's army.
right.
And I think like maybe you can talk your way up to the control room and blow it up that way. So like 3, like and whatever. And like the Master's Lair is like kind of the same way. You can either talk the Master out of it, or you can fight the Master out of it.
Or you can talk your way into the room and fight the mass.
Well, sure, but like my point is though, like the oil rig is so detailed. You know, like
there's all these things in there that aren't used anywhere else. There's all these like
there's sprites there you don't see anywhere else. There's people there. There's rooms. There's all sorts of containers. Whereas
those big brown robots you won't see unless you go to Sierra.
There's another place where you can find them.
Okay.
You know where you go rescue Smiley?
If you go down below.
If you go back there with an electronic lockpick, you can open that elevator, and there's those fucking rocket launcher robots in there, and that shit's rough. Yeah, they're in the Sierra Army Depot, and they might be in the EPA as well.
that makes sense. There was something about robots in that table of contents.
Yeah, but like it feels so detailed. Whereas like the Master's Lair, it's like whatever. It's just another vault, so it has all the same floors a vault does, and then the Master. And then, like, the military base is like, all right, whatever, this is just a base full of mutants. So, like, I'm just going to shoot it up. But, like, when you come to the Enclave's oil rig, like, it feels like there should be this huge possibility space there. And there really isn't. I found that, like, sort of surprising on this playthrough. Because I actually very much wanted to tease it and, like, poke at it and pull things out.
Hitman style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons I was...
And it's a testament to this game that you feel like you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that you feel like those options should be there.
Did you guys go up to the vertebrate pad on the roof?
Yep.
I think there's a way to get here on a vertibird from Navarro. I think there's a way to talk your way into a vertibird.
That makes sense.
That you don't have to do the tanker, but I couldn't suss it out, so I just did what I knew.
Yeah.
The oil rig is like specifically why I was so insistent that you finish this.
Yeah,
game
no, like it's a
this
cool
episode, 'cause,
space. Like,
I really wanted to talk about the oil rig.
and like I wanted to finish.
I think
it,
it's a very curious piece of design in that game.
I like that Vault 13 is just full of Deathclaw.
Yeah,
I thought that was neat.
I'm really sad because the ending for Vault 13 is bugged in the release version of Fallout, where no matter what you do, it says the Deathclaw died and it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Restoration Project, they fix it, so that's not a guaranteed ending. However, I did take long enough for Frank Horgan to come kill all the Deathclaws anyway. And so I was really bummed that in my epilogue to see that slide, because that was one I actually kind of meant to remedy.
In my epilogue, the Deathclaws became sort of citizens of the NCR.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to mine.
Because the squatters agreed to join, and then they also found out about Vault 13.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they went over the Deathclaws, and they're like, hey, you guys chill with being here? And they're like, yeah, cool, all right.
I like that one dude who lives in Vault 13 with the Deathclaw, the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
He's, yeah, they're totally cool. It's fine.
I like his story, too.
Yeah.
He's just, like, out in the wasteland and, like, Deathclaws crept up on him.
Yeah.
And, like, you're coming with us.
Yeah.
We think you're a doctor. Come here.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk to the vice president at all?
Which of the United States or of the NCR?
Of the United States.
I don't.
He
think
sort of
so.
seemed like a weird clone dude. Like his answers to my questions didn't seem like proper grammatical responses to the things I was saying. Right? Like he was just sort of like it was like I would ask him a question and he would say, "Well, golly gee," you know, like stuff like he wasn't really listening to what I was saying in a way that made me feel like, are you a fucking like lobotomized clone or like what is going on?
Is that supposed to be like a hit on whoever Nixon's VP was? Like, because Dick Richardson, like, come on.
Yeah.
Spiro Agnew.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Dick Richardson makes I forget what it is because it's like 90s politics. So like I was a kid when this is happening.
Yeah.
He makes the same typo that I think like Damned Quail did.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he misspells potatoes or something when he speaks.
That makes sense. Well, yeah, and like Dick Richardson himself has a very like Bush visual, like
kind of
George Senior visual.
He reminds me of John McCain.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, shit, man.
Fallout 2's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's a great game. Oh man, that car! First time I switched on my car, it's got that car music. Booted up, I closed my eyes and leaned back in my seat. Just drank it in. Like it feels like freedom. The first
sound
time you take
it
it out.
makes is very good.
Yeah.
Did you guys get all the different car modifications?
Yes.
Like the blower and the...
So, I had all of them, but I did not get them installed.
Okay.
I went to New Reno and my car was stolen. And I went to the chop shop and they were like, "Hey man, we got this new car you can buy. And it's got all these features and you can pay a lot of money for them all." I was like, "Hell yeah, man. Here's like fucking 10,000 caps or whatever." And they're like, "Great." And it's like in the dialogue box at the bottom, it says like, "Oh, you get like this much experience for solving this conflict non-violently." And it's like, "All right, let's roll, buddy." Like, Sulik, get your hammer. We're taking these boys out.
We rolled in and it was like, "Hey, what's the deal with that car over there?" And he's like, "Oh, we're selling it to Mr. Bishop." And I was like, "Is that right? I work for Mr. Bishop. Give me that car." And he goes, "Well, I just installed a bunch of stuff. I'm losing money." And I'm like, "I don't care. I'm with Mr. Bishop. Give me the fucking car."
It's funny how much you can do that in this game.
Yeah.
Like,
and then he's like,
people there's no way for them to check.
He gives me the car, and then I go, "Okay, now give me all the money and ammo you have." And then I take that, and I'm like, over my car trunk, put it in. Okay, bye.
I did that
and you're super not with Mr. Bishop, right?
No.
Like,
and then I hit that dude with the super cattle prods.
Yeah. I did that with Sulik's sister too, because like I did that quest super early in the game. Like I did it like right after I got Sulik, because like Sulik, we're getting this shit squared away pronto. Like we're making years of wrongs.
Yeah,
yeah, it's super hard, but you can also just roll up there and be like, "Hey, I'm with Metzger. He needs some girls for tonight." And they're like, "Oh shit, Metzger!" And so you just go in the back and it's like, and like Sulik goes and talks to his sister and like you just walk out the back door with her.
Todd Howard.
You guys were like Vic is good.
He is.
I don't believe you.
He is good.
He consistently shot everyone in my party because he doesn't know how to fucking chill. He consistently did single-digit damage no matter what I gave
So
him.
he needs to get to his last level up.
Yeah, you need to keep him for a long time.
I had him the whole time.
And you need to have his... Alright, I should ask this question. What level were you when the game was over?
21.
I was 24.
Yeah, I was 28.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So there's a breakpoint I missed somewhere?
Yeah, you didn't level him up enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed them leveling.
Yeah,
I was like, that's cool that you say something.
They'll say a thing, and
you're getting better at what you're doing.
Yeah, so he needs it when he hits his last one. He gets very, very good.
Okay.
I've not gotten him to that point personally.
Yeah, but like,
but I've seen people use him, and it's.
I mean, he
impressive.
killed Gorus in one hit. What can I say?
Yeah. I mean, my Vic died so horribly. I went to the military base from Fallout 1, and we went up the elevator, and I was like, I just want to go to the top, because you can get a Gauss pistol from the guy at the very top.
wait, how'd you get in there?
You have to... I'll show it to you. It's going to make you mad.
Okay.
It's really dumb.
What area are we talking about?
The military base.
The Mariposa military base.
Oh, yeah, it's really funny.
And so we got this like train of mutants following us because I'm just running to the next elevator.
Yeah.
And I go up there and I realize like,
I love that that's a thing in Fallout 1 and 2, by the way. That you can just run. Like,
so we go up the elevator and I can't beat the guy that's up there to get his Gauss pistol, and I tried like a bunch of times because he summons like death claws. It's crazy.
okay.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't do that fight.
Yeah, he has like mutants he keeps in these slime pools near him.
I did
And so,
not
like,
do that fight.
When the fight starts, he like calls them out and they come out and fight you, and it sucks. And so I realized like we just can't do this fight. I'm gonna go back down this elevator. All the mutants are waiting for me at the door, and so it was like I saved and loaded and saved and loaded, like trying to fight my way out. And like the best outcome I could come up with is Cassidy lives, I live, and Sulik lives. Lenny dies.
Sorry, Lenny. Sorry, Vic.
And Lenny died, and it was like, man, I was hoping to really kick the tires on Vic this time, but
Lenny lived.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty worthless.
He's quietly retired somewhere. You
just left him somewhere.
I was like, yeah, Broken Hills. He's in Broken Hills.
I guess
This is
it's
like,
okay.
you, Marcus, get in here.
Oh, yeah, one of the bad things that happened was I never went to Broken Hills this time.
Oh, yeah, no, Broken Hills
And
got
so
fucked.
Broken Hills just got destroyed.
Yeah.
They never once got mentioned in my epilogue.
They were like, yeah, it ran out of uranium and evaporated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
For me, it was the tension boiled over, the racial tension, and they just killed each other. So.
Yeah, so, like, I'd done enough good that the mutants lived, and everyone just left because the town dried up, and the NCR was cool with mutants.
Okay.
So.
You guys good?
I'm good.
Todd Howard.
Nope.
Zero Todd Howard.
Zero Todd Howards. Brandon Chung.
Should we explain what we're doing?
No, not yet. We're going to do it at the end.
Brandon Chung,
I'd give it like a 1 or 2.
yeah, like I'm good with...
It's a pretty zany world.
I'm good
out
with
there.
Was
one.
that the thing he was talking about with in the background, there's weird stuff? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
2.
2?
2. Nina Freeman.
Zero Nina Freemans.
Yeah, I did not feel any feelings other than anger. Simon Bicklund.
Ooh.
3.
3? I can go with the 3.
I could go to a 4 if you wanted to, but I'm good with 3.
No, I think 3's warranted.
There's if you ever read the Fallout Bible, there's like a really specific like sort of discussion of like which guns exist in this world and which ones don't. And it's like, so like the M16 is
By the way, I love like the wood furniture M16 model sprite.
So actually this is about that. The M16's not supposed to be in the game.
Really?
Yeah, that's part of their diverged timeline from ours.
Okay.
But like
William Stoner never made an M16.
yeah, but like the fucking Desert Eagle's still in this fucking game for some reason.
Because
Desert
Israel.
Eagles are red.
Yeah.
Because Israel.
This
Yeah,
is to
like-
what I was trying to say about the Simon Viklund Award here is like, yeah, but this fucking Desert Eagle's in
Well,
this
yeah, I
fucking
think
game.
the argument from last time on
Yeah.
Fallout 1 still holds true. Like, katanas are red, dude.
There's actually Wakazashis in this game.
Yeah.
Yo, so I got a Bozar and I thought it was a small gun, and that hilarity ensued.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is it single fire now?
Nope.
Did they didn't fix it? That's funny.
Jeff Bezos. Or, sorry, J.E. Sawyer.
J.E. Sawyer. J.E. Sawyer is in
several.
the credits of this game.
Yeah.
So 5?
Is that a 5?
Yeah, I'd give it a 5.
I mean, like, if he's made
that
the
an
game, is that an automatic 5?
He was like a community
Black
like,
Isle.
He was like a beginner at Black Isle at the time, so he's like technically in the credits. And then he also made the sequel to this game, so like 5.
Jeff Bezos.
0.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
Yeah.
Taron Adams.
None.
None. It's not the right.
People
kind
live
of
underground.
love.
Like it's the same thing.
Yeah,
from
it's not the
Fallout
right
1.
kind of love.
Yeah.
Jake Solomon.
I give this like a 2 or a 3.
I'm
Like,
at 1.
yeah.
It's up to you, Keenan.
It's like it's that 90s tactical
There's good
combat.
2. There's good character attachment too.
There's a lot of like drama that can come out of like critical misses.
Weird
and
dumb
things like that.
shit.
You know, like your followers like fucking self-destructing, you know, and shit like
Yeah,
that.
but, all right. I'm not changing my number.
All right.
All right.
It's still a 2. I voted 2.
Cardboard computers.
None.
Does this game receive the Memorial Brown or the
Moira Brown.
Memorial Brown Award?
Absolutely.
The Moira Brown Memorial Award for letting NPCs die and us not experiencing content. Yeah, this game is 100% unafraid to let the player not experience content.
You can destroy or skip almost the entire game.
You can grab every follower and use them like paper towels.
Yeah. Like you can skip whole towns. You can kill everyone in town and still play like. And miss huge quest lines, or like if you rolled into San Francisco, didn't talk to anybody, and killed all of the Shi, you'd never learn about the Emperor and the nuclear submarine.
Yeah,
would
you even be able to finish the game? Wouldn't the submarine just blow your shit up?
No, because you.
Does the transponder?
Yeah, the transponder
does both.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you'd be able to get the oil from the hebologists, even if you couldn't access the Emperor.
Okay.
I mean, by that time your karma would be so low anyway.
Yeah.
It'd be just fine. So I kind of just did that, but what just happened? Anybody want to field that?
The Not Real Game Awards just happened.
All right.
The Not Real Game Awards are a mood board of games peoples.
Or
it's my Twitterist board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're people who work in the games industry that evoke certain aesthetics.
Yeah.
Like,
their creations will have the same themes.
If you're curious about why this game got so many J.E. Sawyers and not so many Jeff Bezoses, go look up these people, look up their resumes,
or listen to another episode.
Yeah, or listen to another episode. Yeah.
Because that'll give you a better idea of what's going on.
We're being lazy about this today. Deal with it.
Where can they find us?
If you want to email us game codes, corrections, and manifestos, you can contact us at badplaystyle@gmail.com. Hey, I just leveled up in Fallout.
Yeah, that's staying in. We're also at Bad Playstyle on Twitter.
Please harass our Twitter.
Yeah. Come get it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Scream epithets at our Twitter, please.
Whoa. No.
Yep.
I will report them.
No.
To Jack, and Jack will.
I will report.
Take swift action.
I am a Twitter reporter. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
And where can they find our Twitch stream, Keenan?
Well, there's a discussion. I stream on twitch.tv/savoryscrimp, which is shrimp with a C instead of an H.
Why don't you stream us playing Divinity?
I was gonna say there's some stuff we could stream on my channel.
Yeah.
There's some stuff because you talked about a thing we could probably stream or record at minimum.
Yeah. What was that?
The X.
Oh, the X is gonna give it to you. Okay. You receive a chicken hat, which brings you up to a total of 1 point.
1 point tiebreaker.
1 point tiebreaker. And I was going to this episode suggest that we do away with the chicken hat if no one receives any points this season, but that is not a thing any longer. So,
Maybe that's the standing goal of the chicken hat.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
If no points, remove chicken hat.
Yeah. If we can,
or maybe remove it for a season.
If we can go for an entire decapod, then I think
Okay.
Quantum.
Quadrum.
That's what it was.
No, don't use that one.
I didn't mean to do that. That was an accident.
Quadrum.
What are we playing next week? Oh, that's a great question, Matt. We're playing Firewatch, which I totally forgot that I made that decision. Right before we recorded, I turned to Owen and I said, "Hey, whose pick is it?" And he said, "It's yours. You already picked Firewatch."
Yeah, like you discussed that in a chat, and we were like, "Cool." None of us even like blinked at it because Firewatch.
So my brain is melting out of my ears right now. So this is the part of the show where the most important thing in the entire world happens. Owen tells us who Sam Fisher fights, and if he thinks that he wins.
Sam Fisher's been given a mission to destroy the Enclave Oil Rig and save his village.
Okay.
he absolutely succeeds.
Yo, that dude's sneak score.
I mean, we were talking about how the Chosen One or the Vault Dweller are essentially just worse versions of Sam Fisher already, right?
Yeah.
So
like he doesn't even like walk through the corridors. You know, this is like silenced bullets coming out of ventilation.
Yeah,
ducts.
no, he has climbed up the oil rig.
Yeah.
The 90s are utterly unequipped to think about that kind of combat.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, yeah, you give them a better gun, they do better, right? And no consideration made for tactics whatsoever.
They didn't even conceptualize press X to kill the Secretary of Defense.
No.
They didn't.
No.
Oh, how'd you guys kill the president? I
I
assume you killed the president.
Yeah, he found some dynamite in his pocket.
Nice.
Or no, actually he didn't. I couldn't get the the steal check right,
Uh-huh.
so I went sneak and shot him in the eyes twice, and he died, and no combat ensued.
Yeah, if you kill him in one turn.
Yeah. So I was like,
So
fuck this.
I'm not really sure what happened to the president, but when I walked in and I talked to him, at one point he looked really sick, so I gave him 14 stupor Stimpaks, and then I went and did some other stuff, and I came back later and he was dead. So I guess he was really sick, but I looted his body.
14 Stimpaks couldn't fix it.
No, 14 Stimpaks couldn't do it. 14 super Stimps couldn't do
You
it.
really needed a trauma pack or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
For
Really
tactics.
needed something else. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, phone tactics.
That's a way you can kill him, in case you couldn't tell through our sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that there's a lot of options.
Thanks for listening, friends.
Yeah, have a good one. Firewatch.
Jet's made out of poop.